I think it's important to recognize that Mohammed bin Salman's attempts to de-Islamize Saudi Arabia, to shove Islam out of the political and social sphere in Saudi Arabia, are beginning to gather pace. This list is not exhaustive, but it does prove that bin Salman seeks to de-Islamize Saudi Arabia, that it's gathering pace. Wa inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
The announcement that Saudi Arabia will be changing its national flag comes after a number of initiatives to de-Islamize the country and are beginning to gather pace. From pop concerts to sports events to beauty pageants and allowing women to drive. The Saudi monarchy is now abandoning Islam for its legitimacy, as it was always a means to an end rather than an end in itself. The Saud tribe has its origins in the deserts of Arabia. It took the Saud tribe 200 years and 3 attempts to conquer the Arabian Peninsula. The Sauds originate from Al-Diriyah, on the outskirts of Riyadh. The head of the tribe in the early 1700s made a deal with Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab and created the Saudi Wahhabi alliance, which was sealed by Saud's eldest son marrying Al-Wahhab's daughter. From here they set about conquering Arabia, and despite conquering Mecca and Medina in 1818, the desert ambitions were halted by Muhammad Ali Pasha, who was sent by the Ottomans to put down the rebellion. By 1890, the Sauds have regrouped and once again retook Riyadh, but their conflict with the Ottomans and many other Arabian tribes saw them once again lose Riyadh. The Sauds were once again in exile, in poverty, and in a state of rage. The Sauds' third attempt at conquering Arabia was in the early 1900s. Abdul Aziz bin Abdul Rahman, or Ibn Saud as he is known, was in the mid-20s and became the leader of the Saud tribe. On this occasion he turned to Britain for weapons and money. For Britain, the Arabian coasts were key routes to reach British India, and as the Sauds were enemies of the Ottomans, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. With the collapse of the Ottomans in 1924, Britain recognized Ibn Saud as the king of Najd and Hijaz. Ibn Saud changed his title to the King of Saudi Arabia, and then married a daughter from each of the defeated tribes and senior religious families to hold his desert kingdom together. He would have 20 wives in his lifetime that resulted in more than 100 children and the creation of a family network which dominates the country today. The Saud monarchy struck gold in 1928 when oil was discovered in the country. In time, Saudi Arabia would become the world's largest oil producer, which would make the Sauds immensely rich, earning them around $100 billion a day. This oil, the wealth of the country, became their personal wealth. Over the years, the Sauds nurtured an image that they have Islamic legitimacy due to the support of the Wahhabi scholars. This makes them the leaders of the Sunni world and the global representative of Islam. This saw Saudi Arabia supporting the building of mosques around the world, as well as supporting oppressed Muslims around the world. Saudi Arabia funded many groups who were fighting oppression. This would include the Mujahideen, who would go on to fight in Afghanistan when the Soviet Union invaded in 1979. If one was to examine Saudi foreign policy over the decades, the monarchy has been very selective in its funding and the issues it has got involved in. Saudi Arabia, no doubt, has an anti-Iran policy. On Palestine, Saudi Arabia has supported a Palestinian state. In America's Iraq war, Saudi Arabia has provided its land and bases. In the Bosnian War, in the 1990s, Saudi funded jihadi groups against the Serbs. And similarly, in Syria, Saudi funded and supported a number of rebel groups. But in many other conflicts where Muslims were oppressed, Saudi did not get involved, such as Kashmir, Myanmar, Xinjiang, and Chechnya. Saudi Arabia, despite claiming its Islamic legitimacy, has been very selective in the conflicts it has got involved in. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman explained why in 2018. Speaking to the Washington Post paper, bin Salman said that Saudi Arabia's Western allies urged the country to invest in mosques and madrasas overseas during the Cold War, in an effort to prevent encroachment in Muslim countries by the Soviet Union. The pro-Islamic policy was a means to an end, and not an end in itself. Islamic legitimacy afforded the Saud monarchy the power to rule over the holy sites and over Arabian tribes, and allow them to get involved in regional and global issues. The emergence of King Salman and his son Mohammed bin Salman in 2015 has seen major changes in the kingdom. The Saud tribe can no longer claim it represents Islam anymore, as Muslims across the world have seen through the inconsistency. Even domestically, the Saud tribe is entrenched after decades in power. They don't need to use Islam to justify Saud rule. Mohammed bin Salman figured with 70% of population under the age of 30, he would target them to develop a new support base for the monarchy. So the Wahhabis are out. Conservatism is out. Western culture is in and is to be expanded. Being America's best friend is also in.
And the royal family, for instance, in Saudi Arabia, again goes out of its way to say it's not related to the Prophet, which is a unique thing among leadership in the Middle East. Every leadership in the history of the Middle East has always said they're descended from the Prophet because it gives them a legitimacy of some sort. We've said, look, we're just a tribal bunch of Bedouins who happened to win the war. And at the moment, our people like us. Long may that last, but that may not always be the case. And so we don't play a religious leadership role.
For the Saud tribe, from the earliest days, it has all been about regime survival and the monarchy remaining in power. They supported America and Western foreign policy to ensure that they were never removed from power. In this context, the tribe from Najd used Islam to gain legitimacy, but they are now confident they don't need Islam in the 21st century to survive, because Islam was always a means to an end and not an end in itself.